Every person that we pass by on the street, every individual that we interact with each day of our lives, and every person that we'll connect with throughout our lives has within them a fountain of wisdom and knowledge that we can tap into at any time in our lives in order to help us to navigate some of the challenges and struggles that we'll face, as well as to help us to better achieve our dreams and to find greater fulfillment in life. Today, I'd like to introduce you to Nathan and Bobbi Nielsen. Nathan and Bobbi live just a few blocks down the street here from me, and they went through one of the most horrifying events that a parent can go through, and that is the loss of your child. In the interview, they shared with me their story around losing their son, Trevor, and some of the insights and wisdom that helped them to navigate through that and to continue to navigate through that. I hope that as you listen to their story, listen to the wisdom that they have to share, that it might inspire you in the way that you need to be inspired today. I'd also invite you, if you enjoy listening to Nathan and Bobbi's story and the wisdom that they have to share, that you might share this with someone else out there that maybe you know that might benefit from hearing Nathan and Bobbi's story. Maybe they're going through something similar, or maybe they just need a little boost to their day. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Nathan and Bobbi Nielsen.
I'm Nathan Nielsen.
I'm Bobbi. We are parents to 4 beautiful children. In 1998, we had a large 9-pound, 2-ounce boy named Trevor. When Trevor was 5, we were just getting him ready for school and took him in for his routine care checks. And as we were leaving, the doctor says, "Looks great, doing good. Do you have any concerns?" And I said, "Yeah, he's got this little stomach that sticks out." And the doctor looks at him and says, "He's got huge calves too. We're going to just give him a test to rule out any of the dystrophies." And
we're like, huh? What's going on?
we're like, okay, that's fine. And the following Monday, we went in for another child, but they had the results of the test back, and they told us that Trevor had this thing called Duchenne muscular dystrophy. You know, we didn't see a lot of changes in him. He still was just kind of a happy boy. He was kind of slow at the beginning. He was developmentally delayed, and he was a sweet kid, really sensitive, and he just kind of progressed normally for a little while, and then he started slowing down quite a bit. And by the time he was 11, he was in a wheelchair full time. We got his first power chair at 11 years of age. When he turned 16, we took him to the cardiologist, and they said, "Well, his heart is weakening, but it still seems pretty good. We'll see you again in a few months." And soon after, he just started being sick.
Sick all the time. And he couldn't keep food down.
We took a trip to the emergency room because I was worried that he was dehydrated, and they didn't give him a lot of fluids. They gave him a little bit, but they said, "We can't really do anything right now. We can put you in the hospital and watch for a little while." We decided to go on vacation, and he got worse and worse, and his legs started getting a lot bigger while we were on vacation. And so when we got back here to Salt Lake, we took him into his pediatrician because that earlier emergency room visit, they declared that he had depression. So we went in, and the doctor took one look at his legs and said, "This is not depression," and just made sure his vitals were okay and sent us to primary children's.
He was retaining water like you wouldn't believe. He had gained
26 pounds.
26 pounds in about
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
So we got him up to primary children's, and they put him in ICU and started the diuresing. And we were doing that for a good week, almost a week. And we thought he was doing better. The doctors say he's doing good, nothing to worry about. But Monday morning, August 4th, I spent the whole time with him up in the hospital, and that one night I decided to go away. I was going to get Megan into the doctors, and I spent a night at home, got a good night's sleep, and the next morning at about 8 o'clock that morning, we started getting phone calls that Trevor was in trouble. We need to get up to the hospital.
I walk in, and they're doing chest compressions on him. It was surreal to say the least. And I basically beside myself. I couldn't speak. I couldn't.
Once we both got there, the doctor came over and said, "You've got some decisions that you need to make. We've been doing this for, I can't remember how long," she said.
About 40 minutes.
But even if we do get him back, we're looking at long-term high oxygen deprivation, and we don't know what quality of life he'd still have. And at that time, we could feel him there with us, and it's like we could feel his arms around both of us, saying, "It's time to let us go. You can let me go now, Mom and Dad. I'm good." And we did. We lost him.
We then had issues with one of our daughters who Bobbi mentioned was having problems with her hip. Ended up breaking her hip that night.
And we were back at Primary Children's for emergency surgery
the next day.
Within 12 hours after Trevor passing away. It was terrible.
We've had a lot of trials that we call
tender mercies.
Tender mercies. And we had to allow others to help us because we were at our lowest. However,
we just have to not look at it like we're being punished, but we're learning.
Yeah,
we have lots to learn, I guess. We've learned that life can change so easily, and if you're not making every moment count, then you're going to miss out on some opportunities and maybe have some regrets in the future.
With his passing, it has given me an opportunity. I work for a company that I pick up people who pass away, and it with his passing, it helps me show empathy better to be able to give peace of mind to families that have lost loved ones as well. I am truly able to understand some of the things they're going through. At their lowest point, I then can say it's going to be okay.
Many people might want to blame themselves or blame other people in the family. You can't do that. You need each other. You need to strengthen each other, and that's one thing that we had. Is he had a bad day, I had a good day. I'd have a good day. He'd have vice versa. But we were able to strengthen each other through that whole thing. We were able to strengthen the kids through it. And
they were able to strengthen us.
Yeah. We came together. I think if there's one thing that made it easier for me is instead of focusing on everything that I didn't have, I started focusing on everything that I did have. And that made a huge, huge amount of difference. Once you started seeing the good that's still in life, you start having more good days. And when your kids see you having more good days, they have more good days. We found happiness again. It is possible. But we're still kind of pushing through, pushing past the pain, because the pain's still there. But we've learned to live with it. The dull ache that's of not having Trevor with us, it's still there. But we don't let it get to us. We still look for the good in life. And our purpose on earth is not to be miserable. We were sent to be happy and to learn how to be happy through the trials. It's a hard world out there, but we're not meant to be miserable. And you just have to learn how to find the good things in life and be grateful for them.
Well, I hope that you were as inspired and moved by Nathan and Bobbi's story as I was. There was one thing in particular that they pointed out that really moved me, and that was the importance of focus. Focus in getting through things. Any time that something traumatic or difficult or challenging happens in our lives, inevitably, it's going to drag us down. There's going to be pain. there's going to be suffering, there's going to be heartache, and we need to give time for that to pass. But at the same time, the more time we spend focusing on the pain, the injustice, the suffering, the unfairness of it all, the longer we prolong that pain and suffering. And the sooner we can get to the point where we can begin to look around us, and even though things are hard, even though they're difficult, we can begin to see the good that happens, even if it's something small and minuscule. No matter what, the more we start to focus on the good things that have come from these challenges. And the reality is that growth only comes through pain and difficulty. The more that we focus our attention on the good and the opportunities and the benefits, the sooner we'll get through the challenges and the trials and the struggles that we face. So I really loved how Nathan and Bobbi had articulated that. All right. As always, if you've enjoyed this episode, if you've found inspiration through the story of Nathan and Bobbi, be sure to share this with others out there who maybe are going through something similar and could benefit from this, or someone who you just think might enjoy hearing their story and their wisdom. Also, I'd invite you to subscribe to our channel so you can be notified of any future stories and wisdom and interviews that we release. And last of all, as always, remember that wisdom is everywhere in the lives of the people around us. If we will simply have the courage to connect with those people and open our hearts and open our minds to receiving the wisdom they have to share.